how do you differentiate a stressor from
Mm,
stress? And that's
okay.
important delineation. We tend to think of stress as the stressor. Like I define stress as my job, or I define stress as the uncertainty happening right now in the U.S. government because they are removing certain positions or downsizing, if you will. These are stressors. These are events that are taking place either externally or sometimes our biggest stress is internal. They're value conflicts. It's rumination on things outside of your control. These are all stressors. Your thoughts can be stressors based on how you interpret them and use them. Stress is your response to a
Mm,
stressor. And that response can be subconscious. It can be just a patterned reaction that you don't put much conscious effort into. And I can pretty much guarantee you that if you're not putting conscious effort into your stress, it is less than ideal in how you're responding. But stress is neither good nor bad. Stress is a
mm,
response and a perspective. I mean, physiologically, it is an innate response that we have when sensory signals come into our brain and activate our limbic system. The amygdala takes in sensory signals from our vision, our hearing, the detection of a threat or an anomaly, and it activates our core brain, our limbic brain. And that physiologic response is the same thing every single time that it is initiated. Really cool information, too, from a woman by the name of Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor. She's a
mm,
neuroscientist, I believe, but she came up with she did some research and she came up with what's called the 90-second rule. And what
okay.
it conceptually states is the stress response on average, without rumination, without continued thoughts, is about 90 seconds. So think a good friend of yours snuck up behind you on this podcast and scared you. And then you turn around, you know it's not a threat, you know it's your friend, he's a goofball, no big
Right.
deal. That initial reaction, stress response is activated. And yeah, go check yourself.
Yeah, check my
we're,
6.
we're setting you up. So no, that initial reaction activates the stress response. There are neurotransmitters
Okay.
that are released in your body. Your heart rate comes up, your breathing changes, your peripheral vision is activated, blood comes out of your gut to support other organs. So the fight, flight, or hopefully not fright response is activated. So
Mm,
how we evolved is our core brain. The stress response is what has really helped us before we lived in this modern time with all this technology that helped us deal with threats from either other tribes or creatures that wanted to take our life. It helped us determine how to effectively respond by training the system to evolve. So the stress response, again, is the same thing that happens every time in response to a stressor. But 90 seconds on average, in my example I gave to you, is now you know there's no threat.